Scruffy Audio Network.
It's all part of the show. We're professionals.
I cannot believe that you were just dog cussing Matt. He is so good at this. Why would you do that? Yeah, he's doing great.
This is like take 7.
I know, but he stepped in here knowing nothing and is running the show now.
Yeah.
Knowing nothing about us.
Ben, don't leave us again.
No, let's just move on. Okay, you're ready to get started?
I guess. I'm just all thrown off right now.
Why don't you introduce us? You never do that.
I'm hearing an echo. I got this new producer.
It's all fine. Just start. Just introduce us.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Why Would You Go There?
Yeah, it's a podcast about travel. We're just a couple of idiots talking about travel. Obviously, we're idiots because we can't seem to get this thing started right, but whatever.
This was perfect.
What are you talking about? Yeah, the seventh take is a charm. Yeah, the seventh start. Yeah, it's always perfect.
So true. We don't ever take over anything. I'm pretty sure it's all going to be in there.
Today we're talking about what city?
Singapore.
Oh my goodness, that is so exciting.
Same time.
Singapore, someplace that I have never been. And
have you heard of it?
Oh, of course I've heard of it.
Okay.
And you just got back from.
I totally did.
So why don't... Well, before we do that, why don't you tell people where they can reach us? And then we also want to do some of the things we've been doing lately, which is talking about the last podcast. Which I hate, but apparently it's a thing. So
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I love talking about different stuff.
I know you do.
So you can reach us on Facebook and Instagram at Why Would You Go There, and then on Twitter at Why Would You Go. And right
now we're going to do some Twitter.
Yeah, we are. So last week we talked about our top 5 experiences of what we enjoy doing while traveling, what our favorite things to do.
Let me tell you something. I have had so many people tell me, of course, none of them have posted on our social media, which is wonderful, which we've asked people to do.
On some social media.
But so many people have told me that is one of our best podcasts.
Yeah.
So if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to that podcast because obviously you want to know what my top experiences are.
Of course.
Yeah. And
it's what we live for.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yours.
And then they get the bonus of you also. So.
Yeah. What was your number 1? Mine was ziplining in Costa Rica.
Wow. I can't even remember.
Wow, way to care. Way to freaking care about our
walking
podcast.
Around the streets in Rome.
Okay, yeah. Okay. All right, so I'm going to read a few of these because I got some feedback from some of you all, again, because you all loved it, you loved hearing about it, and we love hearing your examples as well, your experiences. So I got them in several different formats, so this is going to be kind of interesting, but I'm going to try to breeze through these. But one of them is from Ollie from Travel Bugs World. I get a lot of feedback from them, so it's good to hear from them.
So what's Travel Bugs World? Is that a site where you can go and get deals, or is that just their Twitter handle for traveling themselves?
And a lot of these people that I'll mention, they'll have their own blogs and stuff.
Okay.
So if you find them on the Travel Bugs World, on their Twitter handle, then you can find their blogs. So little shout out for them too.
Yeah, okay.
And speaking of, John at Carpe Diem Air was there last week. And let's see here. And Mel at Your Travel Handbook was somebody who we shouted out last week too. All right, so Travel Bugs World, their top 5 experiences. These were more or less kind of vague instead of like specific like some of them have been. But snorkeling, lazing in a hammock, eating, exploring, and cruising.
Okay, all of those except snorkeling sound great.
You hate snorkeling.
I really do. It just doesn't do much for me. But I think that I like that they responded. But I think I would like to know where they did those things.
Yeah.
Where was it so special? Because I can go snorkel in the pool. It's not going to be special at all.
Yeah. So let me read you a couple more then, so you can kind of again we love hearing about these just because we love hearing everybody's different travel experiences. Everybody has their own thing.
I love talking travel,
and it doesn't have to be somewhere super exotic.
That's true.
It could be somewhere really close. It could be somewhere you just took a day trip to, whatever. But experiences are experiences, and that's kind of what it's all about when you do this traveling. Our motto, it's better to go someplace that you hate than not go anywhere at all. Okay, so Charlene at Red Travel Folder, she said meeting up with friends in Barcelona and having sangria on the patio.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I have not been to Barcelona, but it's on my list, and that sounds pretty awesome. Anytime there's sangria involved or any alcohol
That's
involved.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
And then seeing Golfus in Iceland. taking the gondola up to the top of the Cairngorms in Scotland. Not sure what that is, but I'm going to have to check it out now.
Yep.
And walking out of the train station in Venice and seeing the Grand Canal. So I can agree with that.
Great.
Very cool.
Yeah, all those things sound great.
Okay, and then Zarina at the Z-Log. I think she's from Australia, maybe,
really?
or New Zealand.
Okay.
It's
a very important distinction. Is she from Australia or is she from New Zealand?
Okay. Do you really want me?
No, I don't want you to spend the time on it.
Queensland, New Zealand.
Okay, so that's Queensland. That's
Australia. Queensland, Australia.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
No, you're geography.
Sorry.
Come on, man.
So, snorkeling and helicopter ride over the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. That sounds awesome. Picking grapes at a vineyard in Tuscany. Totally agree with that. You know, I've done that, so I'm right there with you.
Now, when you pick grapes, did you just stop on the side of the road and walk out into some vineyard and pick grapes, or did you actually pay to do it like you're supposed to?
Oh, yeah, no, I definitely stopped. Like numerous times, just pulled over. I was like, those look nice.
Remember that time we picked those blackberries in Oregon?
Yep.
You just pulled off the road. Yep. This is definitely somebody's property we're walking onto picking these blackberries.
Yeah. It's so inviting. Yeah. And then visit the Blue Grotto Sea Cave in Capri. Hiking up Tiger Hill to see the sunrise over the Himalayas.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool. The hiking part not, but seeing the sunrise.
Train ride in Swiss Alps to Jungfrau, and I've done.
Who is she?
Yeah,
Jungfrau.
She's. Oh yeah. That's a mountain.
Okay.
But man, that's a great list. So thanks, Zarina. And then Janina and Jim at Stromfield Adventures, the Cave of Crystal Maiden in Belize. And then let's see, as they are not allowed to, but proper caving to get there, and then in a proper Mayan cave cathedral among pits and elongated skulls, which I know you love skulls.
I love elongated.
And a maiden skeleton.
It's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm going to let you read Margaret's here.
I am not going to read that paragraph. There is not a chance. I'm going to read Margaret's. Margaret there's not a chance that this is less than 1,000 words.
Margot Julian. Yeah. We can paraphrase some of it.
We are. Her number. Well, I'm going to start with her number 5. London. And then there's a whole paragraph about London. Buckingham Palace. She talks about lugging bags around and all of that kind of stuff. But London is her number 5. The number 4 is the Army-Navy game while the president was in attendance.
That's actually kind of
interesting.
Cool.
That is really interesting. I'm kind of shocked that she would say that, but I think that's kind of neat. That's a neat experience. Gondola ride in Venice.
Yeah.
She says, yes, it's expensive. Yes, it's cliched. And then she has 5 more sentences. I love you, Margaret. Thanks for listening.
This is why she emailed it instead of Twittered it, because it won't fit.
Oh, no. Each one of hers would bust the 140-character rule. The Louvre in Paris. I have experienced the Louvre in Paris. I've experienced London also, so those are 2 shared experiences we have. And, God, that Louvre, it is really cool.
Yeah.
We talked about it on our Paris show.
Yeah, we did.
How, you get – there's so much great art there that, you can't possibly see it all in a one-day trip, but everybody wants to go see the Mona Lisa, and you get up there, and it's like a matchbook cover. It's basically an 8x10 glossy of her. And then her number 1 is close to my number 1. It's the Colosseum in Rome. I did not love the Colosseum in Rome as much as I did walking around the streets or even the Forum. I liked the Colosseum a lot, but I think the reason I did it was just a little too crowded for me. And maybe she went on a time where it wasn't as crowded.
You know what's interesting is if you read on there, she said she was the third person in there.
She
said she was the third person in there, and she said
that would probably make a huge difference.
She said she just kind of got to experience it in awe, and basically one of the only people in there, which that would be really cool because it is packed.
I agree with that.
And then I'm going to read a couple more. Carla at work that we work with said Niagara Falls in the winter and the Northern Lights in British Columbia are her top 2.
All right, cool.
Those are very awesome. I did Niagara Falls for my honeymoon, by the way.
Nice.
And then I'm going to go with Amy at 21st Careers. Number 5, holding a baby sloth named Hazel.
That's kind of neat.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
And then cave tubing in Belize.
That's pretty neat also.
Yes, that was on somebody else's. Swimming by myself. Okay, so Amy's a loner. Swimming by myself in Lake Giovanna in Sorrento and watching the sunset. So she likes watching sunsets by herself. Cool. Just kidding, Amy. Amy never would want to be by herself, I wouldn't think.
She'd be with her favorite person. If I'm by myself, I'm always with my favorite person.
That's true. Number 2, waking up to a view of Lake Atitlan.
I don't know what you just said there. But, man, I can't tell you how many times I was going to do up to a view of Atitlan.
Oh, gosh. And volcanoes in Guatemala on her honeymoon. And then her number 1 is skydiving on her 30th birthday.
There's not a chance that I'm going to do that experience. So.
All right, last one.
Okay, finally. Thank goodness. Loved all of them.
Yeah, it's good to hear these.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah. And, some people, they hear these and they're like, oh, okay, I've been there. I've done this. That's really cool.
That's the same thing I just did with Margaret's. So.
Yeah, after you blew them off, yeah. And then Sandy at Sandy6222. She loved taking a cogwheel train up the steepest in the world in Lucerne, Switzerland.
That sounds
I've done that,
cool.
and it was awesome, so I can totally attest to that. Great one, Sandy. She did a ropes course there also. I did not do that. I'm jealous. And then in Siena, we talked about this. They have a big horse race that goes through the city. Do you remember that when we talked about that in our Italy podcast?
Yep.
And she said she was there and she got to see the parade the week after. So that's Sandy's. So thank you all for your feedback.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was awesome. So
and again,
let's talk about Singapore.
Wow.
So someplace that we are moving along.
Yeah, okay.
Someplace that you've just gotten back from, and it's on my list, but it's kind of I tell you, it's a little bit lower on the list. I mean, every place in the world is on the list, basically. Yeah. But I would like to go to Singapore, but then after talking to you just a little bit about it, I think it's moved up a little bit. So one of the things that I will, of course, you're going to be talking all about the experience, but I'll talk just to start. I did a little bit of research for this, and I found out that they have 4 main languages there: English, Malay, Mandarin Chinese, and Tamil, which is some kind of Indian language. I don't know.
Interesting.
But English is really their main language. That's the language that most folks communicate with. So it sounds like you would have no problem getting around.
Zero problems.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're like the different languages. It's because it's a pretty diverse city.
Yeah.
It's an Asian city, but there's a lot of
there's Hinduism. There's Indians.
Yeah. So it's a very diverse city, and you can see all kinds of different cultures. We actually ran into some students that were overseas, as part of their school from the University of North Carolina, and so
cool.
We just saw just people everywhere, different types. It's not like it's not like just one central.
Yeah, well, it's a port city, so generally you'll have different folks, but even more so, it sounds like that there's just a huge diversity in Singapore.
Okay, yeah. So let me kind of start this off. So we actually didn't spend a ton of time in Singapore, and I want to go back really badly. It's one of those places that I thought, okay, this will be cool. I want to go.
Spend a day or so.
Yeah, and we had about an 18-hour layover there. And we were supposed to get there at like 8 o'clock, and our flight got delayed, so we ended up not getting there until about 10. So 10 p.m., so it kind of limited our time a little bit, but just
so basically you spent a day there.
Yeah. Just the overview that we saw. I mean, it was so fun. I mean, it's a very futuristic city.
Really?
Yes.
But you don't think about that.
Yeah,
when you think
you
of
don't.
Singapore.
I mean, I hate to mention Crazy Rich Asians, the movie, but
no, you don't. You love to mention that.
No, but really, I mean, like. Everybody that I told about was like, oh, is it kind of like the movie? And I'm like, yes, actually, you saw a ton of the stuff that was in the movie there. So it's kind of cool. So if you have seen the movie, it kind of gives a vague overview of the city itself. And again, it's just so futuristic and modern. And I felt like the buildings and everything I was in, 20 years in the future. I mean, it was just so cool. I mean, they had one building looked like a lotus flower. I mean, it was a whole building. I mean, it's just crazy.
Is that the Gardens by the Bay?
No, but that it's right near there.
Okay.
And Gardens by the Bay is it's great. So let me, before we talk about that, let me first tell you. So we didn't get there till late. My wife had no desire to go out that night, and I'm like, gosh, we're only here for
a day.
A day. Yeah. I mean, less than a day, essentially. I mean, we flew out at like I think it was 7 o'clock the next night, maybe 8 o'clock the next night. So by the time we were there, we had like 18, 19 hours. And so I got there and I'm like, let's go out. You know, I know it's 11:30 at night. And she's like, I really don't want to. I don't feel comfortable. And I asked the front desk, hey, can we go out? Is it safe? Well, you know, do we need to worry? And he said, no, everything is okay. You're fine to go out. He said, there's very low crime. You know, you'll be safe anywhere you go.
Okay.
And I felt that way. I didn't feel unsafe at all. So we left and we went out and we saw the Gardens by the Bay at night.
Okay.
And I wanted to see that because I wanted to see those trees.
Is it because it's number one on TripAdvisor?
It is number one, yes.
Yep.
And I think it's very cool. Now, if you see it there today, it's also cool, but I love seeing it at night. I think it just offered a little bit different dynamic to it. Yes, it was. It was lit up. And there are different colors. There's some that are like purple, which I know you like.
Oh, yeah.
Pink, kind of green and blue. You know, they just had different colors. And, you know, when I say trees, you know, they're like... they range from like 80 to 160 feet. So they're not real trees, right? I mean,
that's a tree.
They're like man-made trees. I mean, they're not real trees.
Wait a minute. They're man-made trees.
Yes.
They're artificial trees.
Yes.
I thought you meant trees.
Yes,
okay.
I did. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting, but I wanted to see it just because, again, that's kind of what you see whenever you see Singapore. You see those trees, and you see the like the super tree grove that has the skyway that you can walk from tree to tree, as I do my air quotation marks over the trees.
Yeah, okay.
And it's just really cool to see. And then they have a little light show and a sound show at some point. But it was
making me think of Vegas.
It is. Yeah, you know, there's parts of Vegas that are very nice and very much. There is no bad place in Singapore, I don't think. I don't think, you know, how on Vegas, you know, you got some areas that,
I'm sure there is, but there was nowhere that you saw that was like that.
Yeah,
it was
all
true. Pretty much beautiful, right?
It was.
Okay.
And again, everything was super modern and just, again, made me feel like I was in the future. So it was great. But the Gardens by the Bay, that's kind of in that same area as the super tree grove that we just talked about. And we went back there the next day, and it's got a flower dome, which is what you were asking about. That's kind of the lotus, that looks like the lotus flower, but that's not it.
Okay.
But it's got a flower dome, and it's the world's largest glass greenhouse. So it's a big glass building, and it just has it had like all kinds of flowers from all different parts of the world.
Or worlds.
Yeah, or the worlds, yeah.
You said it's futuristic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But, oh, man, it was so cool. And it just, different stuff. I mean, even different trees, too. And each, I guess not country, but continent definitely had their own little specific area where it highlighted stuff. And then certain places also had, like, you know, like there's like an Italian area that has...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, so just places like that.
So they kept the climate a little different inside the greenhouse? Okay.
Yeah, a little. But, you know, it was so warm outside. Apparently it's very hot in Singapore.
Yeah, so it looks like, from just a little bit of research I did, that the temperature ranges from 80 to 90 all year round for the high.
Yes.
For the average. So.
And it was hot. So that is the one
But it seems
negative.
like it never gets cold, right?
I don't think so.
Yep.
But that seems like the one negative, I think, if I were to go back there, is because you're going to have to battle the heat. I mean, you know, 85, 90 degrees.
Were there mosquitoes?
Didn't see any mosquitoes, but there could have been.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the flower dome, it's got like... Australian garden and a Mediterranean garden, and you know, just different places. And then, kind of in the same general area, there's the place called the Cloud Forest, and you can buy
that's number 3
tickets.
on TripAdvisor.
Yeah.
So
And
what is that?
So it's kind of exactly what it says. It's almost like a rainforest that's indoors, kind of.
Okay.
And it's another one of those things where you kind of walk up and you're just walking around and you're getting different views and vantage points of different kind of greenery, shrubbery, rainforest type stuff. It's like almost like a cliff. It kind of makes you think Jurassic Park.
Okay. Wow, that sounds cool. So let me ask you this, how crowded were either one of these?
So they
seem like huge tourist attractions.
They both are.
Yeah.
They are for sure. The Flower Dome was definitely busy. I mean, there were times where I'd have to wait for people to, get out of the way to take a picture. And
it doesn't sound like you. I'm surprised you didn't push people out of the way.
I didn't want to be that way. I mean, when you're in a flowery place, it's kind of hard to be punching people. But the Cloud Forest, it seemed so because of the Flower Dome was still in a big area. It seemed like it was a little more compressed. So even though it wasn't really compressed, I think people kind of meander a little slower, and so you get trafficked up, I guess, a little bit more than maybe the Cloud Forest. The Cloud Forest, it almost felt like most people were kind of consistently walking,
moving around.
so you weren't. Yeah,
sure.
So it wasn't crazy there, but it had a huge waterfall. I think it was the largest indoor waterfall. I think.
Oh wow.
In the world, so that's cool.
Kind of cool. Well, let me ask you this: are those two places close to each other?
Yes, they're right beside each other.
So how did you get there from the hotel? Is it close to your hotel?
Is this your getting around?
Yeah,
I knew you were going
that.
there. I knew it. So we actually took the subway.
Okay.
And had no problems with it. Everything was in English, no issues with that. And we actually stayed, so we still got a hotel room even though we weren't there for...
Yeah, because you wanted to sleep a few hours.
Yes, definitely. And we stayed in Little India. So it's got a nice Chinatown too. So it's got a Chinatown, a Little India. So if you love either of those types of food...
Yeah.
Then it's right there. I mean,
I love Chinese food.
Yeah, so you can go there, but we took the subway, and no issues there. And again, clean, really nice, just like the rest of the city. No real problems getting around. So, and again, it takes you to quite a few places.
Was it really expensive?
No, surprising. This is something that really surprised me. Even though it is expensive there to an extent, it is not like most other places when I say expensive. When I think
it's not Switzerland.
It's not Switzerland.
Yeah.
It's not like Norway or somewhere like that. I mean, it is still very reasonable. Now, for an Asian country, it's probably one of the more expensive ones, but it's still not. It's still not expensive. I mean, it is very reasonable. The dollar will go a good ways there.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's another reason to go there.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, you're right. The Gardens by the Bay, the Cloud Forest, the Super Tree Grove, all those are right there, essentially connected. And again, you can buy tickets, kind of each one of those individually, so that you can pick and choose what you want to do. And then really close to that is the Marina Bay Sands. Do you know what that is?
I do not know what that is. Didn't say that.
All right, so that is the building that's a hotel, but it's got like 3 columns. And it has on top of the building, at the very top, on the 57th floor, it's got the largest rooftop pool in the world.
Did you go up there and see it?
No, we didn't.
You're pretty upset about that.
I am. I wanted to, but it's just lack of time. I mean, we had to pick and choose because we were there such a minimal amount of time, and that's why I want to go back. But I've seen all these pictures, and it seems terrifying. Because you're basically looking over the edge, like straight down 57 stories. But it also seems so awesome, too.
Yeah,
and
that sounds cool.
And it looks like, it just kind of towers, so it looks like it offers tremendous views of the rest of the city. So that stinks. It also has an observation deck, which we didn't do that either. So if I go back, definitely going to do that.
Those are the things you're going to do.
I think you have to pay. I think you have to stay at the hotel to go to the pool, but I'm not quite sure about that.
That would make sense, sure.
So, yeah. And I did look up rooms at that hotel, and just for random dates that I put in, it was about $300 per night, which is expensive,
but not crazy.
Yeah. So, for what I would assume is the nicest hotel by far, and one of the most prestigious, I would say that was probably worth it. And again, if you're there and it's hot. What a great place to have a pool, a rooftop pool where
Yeah.
you can kind of
Yeah,
oversee
very
everything.
cool. Very cool.
So, again, the Marina Bay Sands, that was pretty cool. But it's right there, really close to the Gardens by the Bay that we mentioned.
Okay.
All right. What else?
So you've mentioned some things that are obviously you pared it down by the must sees are the things that you saw because you were only going to be there for a full day. So you saw Gardens by the Bay, Cloud Forest. And you mentioned some other things that are things that you're going to do if you're there a little bit longer. And I know from this conversation that you think people should be there a little bit longer.
I do. I think so. I mean, like I haven't even talked about the airport. The airport is rated the world's best airport by Skytrax, which is a huge rating system, I guess, for
I'm
all things airlines.
So it bumped O'Hare off world's best.
Yeah. O'Hare. Yeah. But it's incredible. I mean,
you didn't think that was funny? That was a joke, man. Come on. You didn't think that was funny?
Yeah.
Bumped O'Hare off the world's best. That's the world's worst.
Well,
don't fake laugh me now.
I'm sorry.
Don't fake laugh me now.
Okay. Yeah, my bad. But I mean, it is a place you can spend your entire layover there, just there. I mean, it is an incredible airport. It is by far the coolest airport I've ever been in.
Really?
Yeah.
And you've been in, guess how many airports have you been in?
Oh, gosh. I really don't
50?
know. Oh, easy 50. I mean, probably,
50?
I'd say 100, 150.
Heck, I might have been in 50 airports.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, I've been to 40-something different countries, so I've had to have been in probably, So it is easy the coolest airport I've ever been to. I mean, people go there. I read stuff that said people go there and literally just spend their layovers there. They don't even go out into the city because you can. And it's also rated the best airport to sleep in, which is kind of cool. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to sleep in there because there's so much to do, but that's still kind of cool. Let's see. So let me just give you a few things that the airport has in it.
All right, let's do that.
It's got a sunflower garden. So it's just, you're out, you kind of walk out, how in like Atlanta or some of these places, you can walk out and you're outside and you can see the airport.
Sure.
Well, this had a sunflower garden.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So, and then it now has the Jewel, which if you've kind of followed it at all, because it's been going on for a while, it's basically 10 stories. And it's like an indoor waterfall. It has 280 restaurants and shops and stores. And, I mean, it is like world-class shopping there.
Wow.
I mean, it's got everything you want, and it's super nice. There's a hotel there. There's a waterfall. It has slides that you can slide down. It sounds kind of crazy, right? That you can just slide down a giant slide.
So, like... in a pool or just a regular slide?
Slide it down. Yeah, just slide down. And I think it's like 40 feet tall or something like that. Yeah, so isn't that kind of crazy?
That is very crazy. I don't know about those Singapore people. They sound kind of nuts.
They're
sound like
futuristic.
Crazy rich Asians.
Yeah. It's got a canopy park with like bouncing and walking nets. I mean, it's got 2 mazes in there. It has a theater where you can watch a movie. And you don't have to pay.
Oh, really?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. They were playing A Quiet Place, and I went in there, and it probably had 30 seats in the little theater. Yep. And, you just sit there, and it's like dark as can be.
Like a theater.
Yeah.
Like a theater would be.
Yeah. I mean, it was nice. It was really cool. So, I mean, you can definitely use your layover there pretty easy if you want. Let's see. What else? There was something else I was going to tell you. I don't know. I mean, but there's some lush
cool.
areas. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just really cool. Oh, there's rest zones and snooze areas too. But it's the 6th busiest airport in the world for traffic. For people, traffic. But yeah, so you can do that for sure. And then one other thing that they offer that I probably should have prefaced the show with is if you have a layover of at least, I think it's 5.5 hours or 6 hours, but it's a maximum of 24 hours. They will give you a free tour. They'll take you like on a on a bus, on a shuttle,
yeah.
and they'll take you around the city for a 2.5-hour tour.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that cool?
It's around the city. It's not just around the
yes,
the
it's
airport.
not just the airport. Yeah, so it kind of takes you around a few highlights. Probably what we did, maybe obviously not as in depth as what we did, but that's kind of cool.
That is very neat.
No other place is really going to.
So how do they make money at that airport?
I assume they just think tourism. We're just going to do it. It's a great way to see the city, and maybe they think this 2.5 hours is going to get people to come back sooner or later. So maybe it's just the city or country just saying, okay, we're going to do this, and hope it pays dividends because nobody else does anything for free for that matter.
Well, tell me what you ate over there. Am I moving ahead too quick?
No. That's fine.
I've been kind of waiting for that because I'm curious as to. I looked up a couple restaurants. I'm not gonna talk about those at all. But it looks like the food is all over the place.
It is.
So tell me what you ate and what was wonderful, and if you had some street food and all that kind of stuff.
So, I only ate lunch there, and it wasn't anything great because dinner we got back to the hotel or to the airport and ate in the airport.
Okay.
So we remember we got
counts.
there at 10 o'clock at night, and I didn't know if stuff would be open. Mm-hmm. So I got a cup of noodles at the hotel bar or the hotel shop or whatever. Right. And then Sunday or the next day for lunch, we just had a lunch out, and I don't quite remember what it was.
So nothing really major to talk about with food.
But we didn't really scope it out like we normally would at most places.
Because you're just going to be there for a day.
And we didn't want to waste an hour and a half. I shouldn't say waste, but we want to spend an hour and a half to 2 hours trying to scope out somewhere nice and eat somewhere really, really good. So I don't have much for you there.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Which is a shame because I'm all about the food.
I'm kind of shocked.
Sorry.
I looked on TripAdvisor, and
it
looks like the menu is all over the place, like I just said. So, they have Indian influence. They have European influence because they're a British colony until after World War II. They've got Asian influence, obviously. So it does look like there's some great food there. You just cannot tell anyone anything about food. Great way to prepare for the podcast.
They have
Didn't
some
you
nice
know we were
food
going to do a
at the
podcast?
restaurant.
Didn't you know we were going to do a podcast about this? You're there one day. You should at least eat something decent besides a cup of noodles out of the microwave in the airport.
Me, that was dang good at about 11:30 at night. Yeah, it was good. Actually, I think it was later than that, but yeah.
All right, so what else you want to talk about?
So I also want to talk about some of the other places that we didn't necessarily get to, but I read stuff about, and if we'd have had more time, there's a few of these that I was going to be all about.
Do it.
But Universal Studios, if you
Universal Studios,
if you're into that, that's there for those with families. But really, kind of a few of the things that I wanted to talk about was they have the Singapore Flyer, which is like the London Eye. You start to see those pop up all over different cities now. That
was like 7 or 8 on TripAdvisor. I saw it when I was researching.
Okay, yeah. So that's cool. I mean, it's. I think it offers a very different view because it's kind of on the other side of the bridge from just about everything else, from the Gardens by the Bay and the Marina del Sands, or Marina Bay Sands. Sorry. So it's kind of on the different side, so it'll offer a different perspective. And then let me tell you about a couple of the things that I really, 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 really wanted to do, but we just didn't have time. The Singapore Zoo, it's labeled as one of the best zoos in the world.
I know, that's number 2 on TripAdvisor.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to bring it up because I knew that you hadn't gone there.
Yeah.
But it's number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I love animals. And I'm interested in zoos, but a lot of times it's going to kind of take a back seat to a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, because you've seen most of them.
Yeah.
And we have a great zoo here in Knoxville, so yeah.
True. But I think if I would have had more time, that would have been one of the next highest things on the list. Probably the absolute highest thing on the list was they offer a night safari, and it has electric trams, and it you can do it from I think it's open from 7 or 8 to midnight or something like that.
Now, is that at the zoo?
I think it's probably affiliated with the zoo, but I don't think it's exactly the zoo. But it's. I remember looking it up because I thought, okay, if we get there at a decent time, when we originally planned on getting there, I thought, okay, we can go straight there and maybe do this. But yeah, I think it's right beside the zoo. I assume it's affiliated with the zoo, but I don't think it's the zoo itself.
Yep. Okay.
So
What else?
That sounds pretty awesome. And then it also has an aquarium. A lot of this stuff is going to be great for anybody that has kids too. And then the river safari. You can do a river safari because there's a river that runs through, and it's next to the zoo. And you can also do a river cruise. Just as a normal river cruise, like you would say in Paris down the Seine or something like that. But I think those are kind of the main things that I wanted to highlight that I thought would be pretty awesome.
It sounds pretty fascinating. It sounds like there's a ton of stuff to do there. I'm shocked still that it's futuristic as you said that it was earlier.
It seemed like it was the most cutting edge place that there is.
All right.
I mean, all the buildings are nice, and it could also have been that everything was just very modern and very sleek, and there didn't seem like there was a bad part of town or a bad area or anything like that. All the buildings just look brand new. I mean, it looked like it's basically a city that's just been built within the last 10 years. So everything
is wild. It's been around forever.
Yeah.
So do you want to? I have no final thoughts because obviously I didn't do anything. Are you ready to end this thing? Wrap up with your final thoughts?
I think so.
It sounds to me like your final thought's going to include you're ready to go back.
I am. I want to go back. I think it's, you mentioned a port city. I think it's a great place. I would love to go there for another day or two prior to leaving to go on like a cruise or something. I know you're a huge cruiser.
Oh, yeah.
But even not, I mean, even if I go back and do another layover, if I can't spend 3 days there or whatever, another layover of 24 hours will probably still get me to see the stuff that I didn't get to see, or at least close to it. And I think it's one of those cities that everybody needs to see because it's just
wow. Yeah.
It's just a very different city. I think it just has something there for everyone. I mean, you can do the shopping if you like that. You can do just normal like sightseeing stuff that like people with kids do, like the zoo or Universal Studios, that kind of thing. And then it's got just the casual stuff that you're not going to see at a lot of places, like the Gardens by the Bay and the Cloud Forest and the Super Tree Grove and the Flower Dome, all that stuff. So it's just a great city.
Worth doing.
One thing I will tell you,
yeah, please,
about. I got very frustrated, and I thought it was going to be a terrible trip to Singapore because when we landed, we were already delayed, so we already had problems with that. And then you can't use a card to buy your subway.
You have to use cash?
You had to use cash.
Oh, wow.
And there was no ATM right there, so you had to go like back out of the kind of the subway station, or I guess it's not really a subway station because it's still part of the airport, but you had to go back up the escalators and get money out of the ATM. So
take cash.
Kind of drove me nuts. That started it off to the wrong foot, and I thought this is going to be terrible, but it still far exceeded. I mean,
did you punch any of the machines?
What's funny is there was a person down there too,
and you punched that person.
I was like, "Can you change out American dollars?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me.
So you had American cash, but you couldn't use it.
Yeah. It had to take Singapore cash.
Yeah.
I
am shocked that person and that machine both didn't get punched.
Yeah. You're so true.
All right. Well, I am going to. Matt, you can cue the music anytime you're ready.
That was my end summary.
That was your end summary. I am going to end with our motto. So Singapore sounds like a great place.
Hold on a second. You didn't. Do you want to go now? Are you interested? What do you think about it?
Oh gosh, yeah. I didn't have a in summary, as you say. I don't have any final thoughts. It was really low on my list until after we had the conversation, and now I'm like, okay, well maybe I can figure out a way to work that in with. So my wife really wants to go to Australia, which is super expensive. I really want to go to see the Great Wall of China. I want to go to Beijing, but maybe we can work that into one of those somehow.
Yeah.
It's probably a long flight from there to either one of those places, but it's possible that we might be able to work that into a cruise or something leaving out of Singapore. I will tell you this. I am going to going home to look up cruises out of Singapore.
Oh, wow.
So at some point this week, I'll be looking up.
Look them up for 4.
Just see. Yeah. Oh, no.
That seems rude.
All right.
Rude.
Well, I'm going to end with our motto, and we'll get out of here. Hey, it is better to go someplace you hate than to not go any place at all. But it sounds like you all hate Singapore. So get up, get out there, go do something.
It's got something for you.
Yeah.
Get there.
Don't just sit around. Don't just sit around waiting for life to come to your door. It's not going to. Go someplace.